Facebook stuff, I don't get
No problem, no problem.
alerts about that. So
Okay.
I was when I quit here, I went back and saw it on my Facebook. It was all
No.
hang up, hang up, hang up. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess you should hang up.
So sorry. I'm a compulsive, so I just called you 30 times. So please please forgive me. Anyway, this is the problem with our line in Italy, because Italy have a terrible internet line, even the most expensive one. So it happened. It happened.
Excellent.
It happened.
Okay, in chat they are saying Habemus Larsen.
Habemus Larsen, like the Pope, no?
Yeah.
It's the same exclamation.
Yep. So we are back.
We're back.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, we did it. This is, as Americans said, we could say, because it is possible to say over here, shit happens, no?
All right.
Okay. May I ask you one thing? We were speaking about the surfing of the generation with an iconic character like a Savage Dragon. May I ask you one thing? Who is the classic author, no, of the first era of superheroes that you appreciate more?
Like, I mean, for me, it was Jack Kirby, I guess.
Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
You choose the best.
Yeah, my kind of guy when I very first started, my first exposure was to a guy named Herb Trimpe, who was working on the Incredible Hulk when I was a kid. So
yeah.
That was my brother had got a stack of Hulk comics from school, trading with some other kids.
Yeah.
So he came home and he gave them to me in exchange for me doing the dishes. So I was like, all right, this is the best deal ever. So that kind of got me going. But I had one issue of the Hulk that I had bought earlier. So I had this one precious comic book. And then once I got his, I was like, I guess I'm collecting this book because I've got a bunch of them. So this is great. And that started me. And then from there, it was just discovering other people and who was doing what. Jack Kirby at the time was at DC Comics working on Commandy, The Last Boy on Earth, and OMAC, and a couple other books. Just wrapping up the Mr. Miracle, I think.
Yeah.
So I got some of those early on, and I love that stuff. So, and everything kind of informed me and stuff like that. But my dad bought comics when he was a kid too. So grew up with his old comic book collection. And that was all stuff from the 1940s and 1950s. So he got it up through the time that EC Comics was doing that. So Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror and Weird Science and all that stuff. So I had exposure to a wide range of comics just because I had all of his old stuff. And then I had the stuff that I got into starting in the mid-1970s and up through now. I still go to the comic store all the time.
Yeah. Jack Kirby. It's great.
Yeah, Jack Kirby. Short answer, Jack Kirby.
Yeah. But I tell you one thing that for me is very important. The first time that I decided to bring some illustrators here on the Strange Ball, and I spoke with Eric about that. The first one, the first two person that I write, first was you. Second one, I tried to reach my favorite one, Mr. Sal Buscema. It's a little bit old.
Sal.
Yeah, it's a little bit old. He never replied to me, but just to have a chance to speak with the author of The Child Within of Spider-Man, it was an honor for me. I understand that now it is a little bit old, so maybe I will not have a chance to bring him here for many reasons, but I tried. So yeah. I said in my life I tried.
That's good. That's good.
So 𝕊𝕆𝔸𝕂 for me was my favorite one from the close. We can say the classic authors. Okay, so for me is that. But I understand that for you, Jack Kirby, your choice is very top level, very A
Yeah.
level.
Yeah. He was my guy.
Yeah.
Sal. Yeah, I worked with Sal.
You work with who is it's nice person because yeah we heard something from a lot of person that say okay he's Italian because at the end the original name is
Uh-huh.
Silvio Buscema, so he is very Italian, even if probably I don't know if you speak Italian or not.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've actually never spoken with him.
Yeah.
Or I've never met him, never spoken with him. But he was inking he inked the Defenders when I was working on that.
Yeah.
So that was nice to be able to have the opportunity to work with him after, being a fan of his work all those years. So
We remember that was on YouTube a video about Stan Lee when 9674 was in Lucca for the comic exhibition you did in recently, and he said, "I love Italy. We work with Italian. I work with Italians a lot of time. My right hand into the Marvel is in Italian, Mr. Buscema. And when he offended me because I chose something that is not good, I don't understand anything because he speaks in Italian."
oh, nice.
Anyway, let's go over. Mr. Eric, do you have another question? Do you want?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. After so many years and so many great stories that have redefined the concept of comics. As you see Savage Dragon today, and in general, your way of seeing current comics, and both visually and in terms of narration.
It's a good question.
Well, I don't read everything. The thing that does get to me somewhat is the tendency to have every story have 1 million characters in it, and that just the stories continue on so long that when I was growing up, it was commonplace to have single issues of single comic books, and just be able to read an issue of something and have it be self-contained. Now it doesn't seem like that's so common. So many comics they're continued from Spider-Man into Venom into some other book, and they'll just be these big, long, sprawling stories. I just want to be able to pick up a comic book and read it, for crying out loud. Just give me a 1-part story or a 2-part story or something that I can hang my hat on. But it has kind of gotten out of control in terms of everything just taking forever. I don't know. Is that an answer at all? Like I say, I don't read everything too. So, and part of that is just that I've read a bunch of stuff over the years, and eventually you're seeing the same pattern over and over again. So having Spider-Man fight Green Goblin again isn't as exciting to me as maybe it would be to somebody who hasn't read that story before.
Yes, absolutely.
So
I love your approach.
Absolutely.
If in the here Marvel listen to your approach, probably we saved a lot of a number of comics that are totally unuseful. Let me say that. I can tell because come on, I am a purchaser, so I can tell something about Marvel. I repeat again that if they take this approach, probably we saved a lot of fights that cannot be. Like the last one in the saga of Clone, when we said at the end that the Green Goblin was the out of everything that happened to Peter Parker. But this is another story.
Yeah, good lord.
But okay, I have in the chat room there is a sort of a challenge about a question. Okay, there is one of our friend in chat that say a silly question. Why heroes in the 90s wear that gigantic belts full of pockets?
Just because it looked cool. I mean, basically, it was something that people thought it looked neat. So it's like, oh, this looks cool. I wanted to wear all this stuff,
Yeah.
all this gear. That was it. It wasn't anything. There wasn't anything deep or involved in it. It was just, oh, this is awesome. Let's make this thing that's awesome. All right, do that. That's cool. If you enjoy it and you think it adds a level of something, fine, do that.
And this is there was Marichuk that is chatting with our friend over there, Max, in chat, and said, "This question is more for Rob Liefeld that make so big things like this, no?"
Sure.
And there is
I did somewhat just because my character was a police officer, and they actually do have belts that have all sorts of crap on them, but I would put that on regular characters too, who are just walking around like, what in the world does Barbarian or Super Patriot have in the pockets that we ought to know about? I mean, they never reach into them and pull anything out. So
yeah, we remember the shoulder pads full of pouches. What they are for.
What goes on in there? They're never opening it up and pulling out like sandwiches.
They're just shoulder pads.
So it's like, we need this for no reason at all, just because it looks neat.
We remember sometimes that when we would like to speak about access, we could say the cover of Shoulder of Cable, that in every number becomes bigger. No, so we start in this way, then we grow so much that became more than the head of Cable. So we will ask about it to Mr. Liefeld one day.
Yeah, there you go.
I've read the joke on the internet that some people just wonder if the real power of Cable was having so many pouches.
He's just able to walk around with that much gear on.
Yeah, probably.
None of it seems very functional in terms
No.
of practicality. Like, what are you actually trying to do with all that stuff?
Exactly.
You know,
I make a smile, Mr. Larson. I make a smile when I see the second movie of Deadpool. There was just one sentence that was for people a little bit old like us, okay? When there was a Cable that stuck Deadpool on the back and says, with a very dark sentence, no? And the Deadpool replied, "Ooh, you are so dark. You're coming from DC Universe. Are you sure or not?" And I said, "Did you say this thing in a movie that middle Marvel, middle Sony? Real true, it's true." And people said, "What? No, let's go. It's something that coming when I was young." And I remember it make me so fun. It makes me in the past when there was a bigger challenge between the major and the other companies between the comics, and I just take this occasion to go over to the next question, to the next things that I want to speak with you. So Image Comics, your creature, your son, your company. You're as a big boss, but I think you feel yourself like a father of this creature. What you think? What you could tell about the Image Comics and the people that join with you to make this company big like it is?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ideas that people have kind of pondered for a long, long time was, what if all the top guys on the top books all left and formed their own comic book company? And people have been talking about such an idea for forever, you know? And occasionally there will be somebody like Wally Wood, who broke off and did the Thunder Agents and stuff like that. And you think, oh, maybe this will be the thing that everybody's going to go and do this. And it's never been enough guys doing the right project that people really got excited about, you know? Like Jack Kirby did Captain Victory, but
Yeah.
that was years later. It had been quite a while since he had even done comics, and it wasn't enough people all leaving in mass and forming their own company. You know, if it had been the 80s, you know, Frank Miller, John Byrne, and all those guys leaving, George Perez, if those guys had all left at once and formed their own company, you'd be talking about those guys now. But you know, this is the time where we actually were the guys that were on the top of everybody's most wanted list. And then we left and formed our own comic book company. But it's certainly one of those ideas that people had been, you know, forever, like, what would happen? Well, it turns out it's super, super successful. So it worked out really well for us. It was a good time, and it was, you know, at least initially there was a lot of camaraderie, and we would have characters that would appear in one book and flow into another book, and a lot of guest stars, and it was a good time to be doing comics. So I had a fun time doing it. Can't complain.
Absolutely. What you did was really great. So your choice after some decades passed, I think that you win the match in a very sharp way. Absolutely. This is position of all the industry, I think. And but here, when you make these things, what arrived to Italy about the Image Comics was we were speaking about the Trinity of Revolution. You, Mr. Liefeld, and Mr. McFarlane. Here in Italy, there was this sensation that you did something David against Goliath. No? So you did something that you were on the top. Absolutely, because no one can say something different. No? Savage Dragon, right. Deadpool.
I'll go with that.
Yeah. And the Spawn, for example. You did something that gone outside the schemes. I think that at that time there was in the 90s and the beginning of the new millennium, there was the streak fight between DC and Marvel. At the end, at the time, there was only in comics. Now is on the movie, so the war zone is totally different. But at that time, it was comics against comics. And I remember that there was a sort of a stop. Maybe you remember when there was Amalgam, when there was Marvel against DC. That was the chance of, okay, we make a peace and we dominate the market. But at the end, there was a Trinity of Revolution that stays over there and says, hey guys, we are here. Do not forget us, because we are here. They make their games. We are here. So that's our idea of what happened with Image Comics over here in Italy. Maybe what you told us says, okay, we were on the top. We decided, we make our bet, and we win. I could say you win.
Yeah, it worked out all right. I don't know. I got a house out of the deal. It worked out all right.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that we can go over Eric.
Okay.
The superhero question.
Yes, I really like to ask you which is the the superhero, or maybe the author, illustrator of the past of your career, with whom you have a special bond, something very, very important for you?
Well, I mean, I've already said
Yeah.
Jack Kirby was my biggest influence, probably, in terms of actually meeting the people and being able to exchange ideas and conversations with. Gil Kane and Herb Trimpe were probably the two that I, was a big fan of as a kid, and then got to meet and talk with, and in the case of Herb Trimpe, worked with him a little bit. So that was pretty awesome. Just to be able to write a story for Herb Trimpe to draw, and then to be able to ink that was a dream for me.
Well, so speaking more about fictional characters, who was someone who you bonded more?
I would say the Incredible Hulk.
Okay.
But really, most of the Marvel stuff I was really into. So I was getting all the Fantastic Four and Captain America, and really I was all in on Marvel, much more so than DC. There was just I want all these characters. I love everything. This is my world.
May I do a trap question? A little bit a trap question. Do you like the new movies of Venom?
I haven't seen them.
Okay.
You
I think this is
a very polite reply. Thank you.
It's already an answer.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't sought them out. There was nothing about them that made me think I need to watch these. So I know that there was a second movie, and I'm told that there was a special thanks to me and there and whatever.
Okay.
May I tell you one thing that an Italian illustrator like you told when read the plot of Venom? He said, Venom without Secret Wars? Ah, come on.
Yeah, it's tough to do.
Because you can do with some what if, but unlink the character of Venom from Spider-Man. It's something that have no sense. Because Venom characters,
it's like they did with Black Adam, and just kind of going, hey, it's Black Adam, but we're not going to really talk about Captain Marvel and acknowledge that. It's like, well, what are you even doing? You guys are wearing the same costume. How do you not acknowledge this other dude?
This at the end, this is caused by the era when Marvel tried to sold any possible properties into the companies of movies, and now the problem was with Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is on one side, Venom is on another side, so you cannot the two things without according some multinational of movies that are not so open like the comic multinational. This is my position, but I suffer a lot when I see the first movie of Venom without the black spider, the white spider into the front of Venom. That makes me suffer, Mr. Larsen. That makes me suffer a lot, because I have a poster here in my room of Venom from 1995, made by you. That are here since 1995, when the white spider into the chest, and I cannot imagine Venom without that. It's not Venom. Yeah, no. It's like a symbiote. It could be Riot, it could be anyone, but not Venom.
Yeah. What are you even doing?
Sorry? What?
Yeah, it doesn't make that much sense.
Yeah.
Does it?
Absolutely. Marajciuks, do you have some question to Mr. Larsen to do by technical way from Illustrator to Illustrator?
Well, I have a lot of questions, but I think the most I think the one that it's condense all the questions that I have is: do you think, for example, that without image, could we have something like, obviously, Savage Dragon, but also like The Walking Dead? Because I think that without the revolution that image bring in the 90s in the comic market, what we have today would not be possible, because something like Savage Dragon brings to the table some realism in the comic superhero world, where some others superhero they not for that time that would not tackle something like politics or drugs or violence. And I think that image with Savage Dragon and then with the other publication up to obviously now the most famous Walking Dead, because in Italy Walking Dead is a huge success. And I think for me, without the image breaking, there will the comic. How can I say that? The landscape of comics will be very much different. What do you think about this?
I agree. I agree. I mean, there are things that we were able to do because we broke off on our own, and there was books that we were able to publish that probably wouldn't exist. And then you've got the creators who grew up with Image Comics. When Image Comics started, Robert Kirkman, who did The Walking Dead, was 12 years old. So, for him, it was like all my favorite creators are all leaving and going to Image Comics, and so his goal and his drive as a kid wanting to eventually make his own comics was to look at Image Comics and go, I want to do what those guys did, and I want to be part of that. I want to be part of Image Comics. And if Image Comics didn't exist, what would his dream be? To work at Marvel Comics, I suspect. Oh, if only I could draw, only I could work on Spider-Man one day. That would be exciting. So would The Walking Dead even exist? Probably not. Would Invincible exist? Probably not. All the various other things that we made it possible for a lot of people to be able to tell the stories that not only that they've always wanted to tell, but to tell the stories that they didn't know that they wanted to tell, because suddenly there is this venue to be able to do that. And a lot of comic book companies have come and gone. And, here we are 30 years later, still chugging away at it.
Still strong.
There is one picture in the slideshow that you see on the top of the page. Maybe you don't see it right now. I will send you later just to see. There is a very beautiful picture that I found where there was people of Image. Okay, so you are sitting on the sofa. I think that is the main office of Image Comics. And I think that picture, as the age you told us, it is a very incredible 90s picture. 90s picture. Really 90s picture. So he felt all of us very happy. Okay? and I hope that you appreciate it. Anyway, we took your time for so long. 1 hour. I promise to be sharp, even if we are Italian, we are so accustomed with the delay, but no problem. We are on time. And first of all, from myself, from a deep of a heart, thank you very much, Mr. Eric Clausen, for being with us to
Was a
this
pleasure.
All right.
to this
Did you
great.
guys get what you needed to get answered? Is there something that's hanging out there that you're like, oh, I missed my opportunity to ask him this or that? Because I'm here right now, man. I'm here for you
Yeah,
guys.
okay. Let us to the people in chat and even to the people over here. If you have some question, do it now or
Do it
you
now.
know,
Here's
I
your
have a-
opportunity.
I have the most boring and the most asked question for a comic book artist, which the most boring question for any comic book artist. What would you suggest to a young man who want to make comics today? I articulate the question a little more. There are so many people concerned with the new artificial intelligence revolution within the illustration game and the evolution of this kind of technology. So
Mhm.
I think there are some young people who are concerned with this problem, but from my point of view, there is hope for the one who are capable of telling good stories. What do you think
Oh,
about
yeah.
the future?
No, I think the future is always bright. As long as you can bring something new and exciting to the table, people are always going to want creators who can tell amazing stories and do a good job doing it. So I would suggest that people just, if you want to make comics, make comics. There's nothing stopping anybody from doing that. And I now more than ever, you can just make comics on your own, draw them in your own room, and upload them and put them online and get exposure that way. I can't tell you the number of artists who have become professionals just because somebody stumbled across their artwork on one website or another. It's like, oh, I was on Facebook and you put a picture of your character on there and I found it intriguing. I love your work. That goes so far. I mean, going to conventions and having people bring you their work and you can see it that way. I've had other artists at conventions drag people over to me and say, have you seen this guy's stuff? He's amazing. And that helps sort of, but there's just so many avenues now in terms of being able to create work, much more so than when I was growing up. It's so much easier to get your work seen than ever before. So it's not difficult. You just need to be able to get the work done, which is the biggest hurdle for everybody.
I think that I will clip these things that you told us, and I will put on my Instagram and just say, people, for the young people that want become an illustrator, listen to this, please. Anyway,
mostly it's get the work done, because that more than anything is, I worked my way up into the comic book industry just by saying yes, I'll do the job, and then doing the job, and that's more than anything is just going. If you can become a person that these companies can depend on, you become invaluable to them. At the time, they would have these issues where they go, they had to ship on time. And that was the ironclad rule when I was growing up, is basically what the publishers would book press time, right? So they would say, okay, at 4:00 on a Wednesday, we are going to print your book. So your book better be here at 4:00 on a Wednesday, or we're going to fine you. And so the publishers would be like, we need to get our book done. It has to be there at 4 o'clock on a Wednesday. So if a book was running late and the regular artist wasn't able to get his work done on time, they would find any warm body who could get the work done. And I became that guy. It would be like, we need this issue in 2 weeks. Can you do it? Yes, I'll do it.
Yes, I do it.
You know, and same thing with Todd McFarlane and with various other artists. We just became these guys that it's like, you can count on us. We're going to be that guy for you.
Yeah.
And if you can, you know, do the work and do it on time, you'll be fine, you know, and do a good job. They just want somebody who can do a good job.
And that was a good job, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, well,
we had you asked, and there is a question on the chat. Mr. Lost Profi said, what do you think about the story and the illustration of Spider-Man of the last years? He said, I'm curious, considering that one of the most beautiful saga of Spider-Man is the coming back of Sinister Six. So, what do you think about the illustration of that?
I don't know.
I don't know. You're very honest.
I don't want to rag on anybody. That's never good form.
Yeah.
Again, I don't necessarily see everything or read everything. There's times where I'll be like, let me check in on my own friend and see how Spider-Man's doing these days. And other times that I'm like, oh, I'm sick of that guy. I don't need to read that anymore. So it depends. There's periods on the book where I was definitely into it, but when I left Amazing Spider-Man years ago, I stopped buying the book. I was just like, all right, I'm done with Spider-Man. I'm going to Image Comics. I'm doing my own thing. In some ways, when you're working on a book, it becomes
yes.
It becomes very precious to you, you know? It's like, this is my character. This is mine, you know? I'm breathing. When I write the words, those are my words coming out of their mouth. This is like family in a way, you know?
Yeah.
And so when I would leave a book, I felt like it felt wrong in a way to read somebody else's words coming out of those characters' mouths. It's sort of like when you break up with a girlfriend, you don't want to see who she's dating and what's going on in her life.
Yeah.
Just I don't want this to be part. I don't want to feel that jealousy or that rage or whatever. It's like, just get this out of my life.
This is brilliant. This is really
I've
brilliant.
been that way with comics that I've worked on. It's like you're working on, Spider-Man or Spawn or whatever. So as soon as I'm off the book, it's like, get away from me. I don't want to read this for a while, you know. And it can take a while before it's like, all right, let me see what they're up to. And
Yes,
so I'll check back in occasionally.
I think it's poetical from a standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very poetical. I agree with Maraichuk when he said that it's a romantic way to intend the comics. No, you said, I feel mine when it's not more mine. Go away from me. This is very interesting.
It's brilliant.
I just said you one thing, because you are so, I consider, a very wise man in this sense. So
Tell that to my wife.
yeah. What's you, if you have to tell right now, no, it's 2023. I've read a lot of your posts on Facebook, so I understand that you have a vision of the future that is very complete. So you just listen to any possible opinion and things that come from the society. So according on that, what do you think about the future of comics? So instead, there is a lot of things. There is not only American comics right now. No, there is this big colossus that is the manga. No, the Japanese comics that enter in the market in a so strong way, like breaking a dam. No, and they were to intend the comics. It's totally different to the American one. Totally different. I think that there's no chance of matching any possible. There's no possible to reduce the space between two. But it's the main two line of comics right now. Okay. What do you think about the future? There's a space for both. Do you think that's?
Oh yeah, I think there's a space for everything. Really, it's just a matter of giving an audience all sorts of choices.
Mm-hmm.
It's like asking, what's the future of food? Is there too much food? When you go into the grocery store and there's different kinds of candy bars, what are you going to do? It's like, well, you choose the ones you like. You know, if there's more comics from all sorts of different countries, and it's all available in stores everywhere. Good stuff, excellent. That's like, you know, you don't think about going into a bookstore and going, oh, there's too many books in this bookstore. If only there was fewer books. Who would say such a thing? If there were more comics, great. You know, hopefully they're good comics. And if there are, and usually in a situation where there is more competition, what ends up happening is the weaker ones fall away and the stronger ones rise up, and it just makes things better for everybody. So, you know, more comics is always good.
Yeah.
So
More comics is always
I'm not worried about that. I just want the product itself to be better. I want the audience who is reading it to be engaged, to be on the edge of their seat and wanting to see what happens next with the characters. You know, great. Bring it on. Let's see it.
For sure, American authors, American illustrators has not the problem that they have the Japanese sometimes, because I think that the Japanese probably they have a serious problem to close the saga. Okay, because they have this problem that closing a saga for them it's very problematic. No, so many good comics that have a very great history, very great illustration, but arrive at the end and there's no end. Because they are not able to end. Okay.
That's their living. Is like they're not writing a finite story, so there is no end. You know, it's like Spider-Man. There's no end. Where's the end of that? It just keeps going forever.
That's good.
So
that's good. There's no end.
You know, I think with manga, they're not necessarily going, oh, I want to have a big finish. They may be going, I got a good thing going here. I want to keep this going as long as I can.
Yeah.
I got a living to make.
Yeah. That's the first thing.
You know, everybody's trying to earn a living doing this stuff. So if they can manage to
it's a job.
Have an audience, you know, all the better. Good.
So in two questions, you reply to me and you show me again that you are a very wise man on this business. So thank you very much again.
Sure.
I think that we are arrived at the end. And sorry, Miss Eric, the other Eric is dropped down probably for technical issues. You know, I'm sorry about that.
Well,
but I try to contact again as soon as possible. But I think that he's happy like me to have you here. It was a very very, very interesting talk. We learn a lot of things, Mr. Larsen.
All
We
right.
learn a lot of things about this history, about this business, the comics, and so on. So, what I can say, thank you very much. This is the thing that
All
I
right.
could say. I'm very honored and proud. I have a goosebumps over there for I think 1 week, and maybe even 𝕊𝔼𝔸𝕂𝔸𝕂 too.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I'm
about
going to
that.
puke as soon as we close. I'm going to puke.
Oh, great. Spare me that. I don't need to see that.
So thank you very much again, and we would like to see again and again his stories about the savage dragon and moreover. And
Okay.
thank you very much again. It was a great
All
pleasure.
right.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we'll do this again sometime.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that will be very nice. Thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
just a
Okay.
few words in Italian to say goodbye to the people. Grazie a tutti ragazzi, siete stati molto gentili, molto gentili. Grazie per essere stati con noi anche con I problemi tecnici. Now in English, thank you very much for all the people in chat. Thank you very much for staying here, even challenging the technical problem that because we are not CBS One, it happens. So thank you very much for the time of Mr. Larsen, time of Mr. Ufson, Mr. 𝕊𝔼𝔸𝕂𝔸𝕂, and thank you very much. See you soon. Thank you very much again. Have a nice night and have a nice day, Mr. Larsen. Thank you. Bye bye.
right.
Goodbye.
Much.
Bye bye.
See you later, guys.